The High Elf expedition of Lord Camarius has been on the run for days after being ambushed and torn apart by the Dark Elf army of Jackie the Flayer. With nowhere else to go, the High Elves decide to head for the mountains and hope to use its terrain in a last stand against the oncoming slaughter. As they're setting up on the mountainside, a large group of dwarves approaches the elves and demands to know what they're doing on their land. Though he despises the dwarves deeply, Lord Camarius explains the situation he and his expedition are in. The Thane leading the dwarves, Muscathor, strokes his beard as he looks at the elven army. After a brief moment, the dwarf speaks. "All right, Helgi, we will aid you, but you owe us for this." With that said, the dwarves form up in a defensive line and set up their artillery. Meanwhile, this sudden alliance has not gone unnoticed by the Dark Elves. As scouts report the ongoing situation to the Flayer, he realizes that a frontal attack with his cabal would be suicide. However, he knows of an old abandoned castle nearby. While most people say it is deserted, Jackie knows better. A vampire lord by the name of Alexius von Drakenberg holds domain over the ancient ruins. The dwarves have been a thorn in the eye of von Drakenberg for ages. With the aid of these dark elves, he can finally be rid of them once and for all. As uncommon and uneasy alliances are struck on both sides, dark clouds gather over the mountains. Just as the Dark Elf and undead armies are spotted by the defenders, thick raindrops fall down upon their helmets.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Fish here and welcome my glorious bannermen. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the little intro to this Call of Warhammer replay. Basically, a guy sent in kind of this replay and then he also added in a bunch of lore, like to kind of give a bit of backstory to the video. And it was really awesome, so I wanted to go ahead and incorporate that into this video. So what I did was I asked OfficiallyDevin, who is the guy narrating it in the intro, to go ahead and just obviously narrate this lore, kind of just bring it to life. And he did an amazing job of it. So if you want to check out his channel, I highly recommend going into the description and just clicking on his channel. He does some awesome narration, let's plays and stuff, something which is just really, really different and not a lot of people actually do. So yeah, make sure to go over to his channel and check that out. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this replay and if you enjoyed the intro and the narration and stuff like that by just dropping a like on the video and also commenting, letting me know. Because the guy also went ahead and sent me in another replay, like to kind of follow on from this battle. And it also has another, like, a bunch more lore kind of describing the aftermath of this battle and kind of how it led on to the next battle. So if you want to see that, make sure to go ahead and let me know in the comments, and also by hitting that like button. So we kind of are nicely set up for this battle with the intro, which is really, really awesome. We can go ahead and just jump in straight into the units and the different troops everyone's bringing. If you just want to jump straight to the action, then you can do that by clicking the skip button. But for those of you who are interested in the troops these armies are bringing, then go ahead and just stick around and watch it. So the High Elf player is kind of formed up like on the center line over here, and also kind of defending his bolt throwers, which are up on the mountain side, which is really, really cool. Nice position, overarching everything. So yeah, we'll go through the elf player and the dwarven player first, and then we'll look at the undead and the dark elves as well, as they slowly encircle these elven positions. So the elf player has 2 bolt throwers up on the hill, which is kind of cool, and then protecting the only pass up, he has a unit of Phoenix Guard, which is obviously going to hold back a lot of enemies, and then he also has a unit of White Lions just behind that. And I love the way the White Lion captain is, just with his 2 axes, one like massive double-sided axe, and then one just like more basic axe, but still it's just really, really cool. For sure, I just love the way the White Lions look. And then this is kind of where the Dwarven player is holding. This is kind of where he's been situated. And his army consists of a bunch of Longbeards. I think he has 3 units of these Longbeards kind of holding the front line. They're obviously going to be a really nice unit, kind of holding this little choke point here. Because the only way into their main formation is kind of through this gap and then up here. And then obviously the undead players attacking through there. And then behind the Longbeards, he has 2 units of these Ironbreakers. Obviously just an elite Dwarven unit, a really, really nice one. I love using these bad boys in combat. They're just so, so awesome. They're going to kind of wreck anything they come up against, hopefully. Hopefully. As a Dwarven player, I'm rooting for the Dwarves. I don't actually know how this battle turns out, so it's going to be interesting for me as well. And then behind that, I think this is where his general unit is. We go ahead and have the Hammerers right here, ready to go ahead and rally the men, give some orders. And then off to the right, he has 2 units of Quarrelers. No, one unit of two units of Quarrelers and a unit of Thunderers as well to go ahead and hopefully get some armor-piercing shots, kind of mounting on this ridge to kind of give him a nice overarching shot. Oh, there's actually another way up here as well, which I didn't even notice, but obviously that's kind of blocked off by the Dwarven player as well. So over here, the Elven player kind of supporting the Dwarven army. We have some Lothlorien Sea Guard, which are like an archer spear unit, which is just so deadly. Obviously, they can volley the hell out of a unit and then form shield wall. He has a couple units of these bad boys, 3 units by the looks of it. There's also a Dwarven mortar over here to hopefully rain hell down upon the enemy. And then over towards Vicente has his general, which is a Dragon Prince, obviously a super heavy cav unit, one of the best cav units in the game for sure, up to the Blood Knights. And then he has another unit of Sea Guard over there, and then he has 2 units of these Elven Archers. Again, these units are not going to be as good as obviously the Sea Guard in combat, but they're still going to, you know, obviously shoot the hell out of the enemy. They're going to be a good Elven range unit. And then kind of acting as the main line, he has 4 units of these High Elf Spearmen, which again aren't going to be the most sturdiest of infantry units. This is basically just a basic Elven Spear unit. But, you know, I'm sure they'll hold the line and kind of push back the enemy. So, we'll go look at the Undead player now. He goes ahead and has a bunch of these Skeleton Warriors. You can see the fighting's actually already started. A few of these skeletons are getting slowly hit down by the Archer fire up on the ridge. We are currently playing at 0.1 speed, so it's slow, the battle's slowly going on, but you guys won't miss anything. There's just been a few Archer volleys so far, taking down a few of these Skeleton Warriors. And then behind the Skeleton Warriors, the more elite soldiers are. We got the Blood Dragons. So we got a unit of Blood Dragons here. This unit is just such a super elite unit. They just slaughter everything. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if they come up against the Ironbreakers, who's actually going to win that engagement. Because, like, honestly, I have no idea who would win an engagement. Probably the Blood Dragons, because they're just so elite with their swords. And then behind that, you got some Drakenhof Guard, another really, really elite unit. Then you also got a Krell Personal Guard over here as well, which is like undead chaos units, which is something you barely ever see, which is cool. And there's 93 of them as well. Yeah, you can actually just see their army. We'll obviously get a better look at these troops when they're actually in combat and stuff. So for now, we'll just carry on. Then he's also got some Grave Guard, a very staple unit of the undead. Some more Drakenhof Guard back here. Then he's got his General, the Von Carstein unit. We'll actually assume this is his General. Maybe it's not in it, but you know, this is the Von Carstein unit. Just a vampires, 2-handed swords, what's not to love. Another unit of Grave Guard over here. Is everything over here? Yeah, I think he does also have some Blood Dragons over here. If we zoom over, yeah, he does actually have some Blood Dragon Knights over here. A unit of these, or 2 units of these bad boys. Yeah, 2 units of these bad boys. Again, this is just the best cavalry in the game, in my opinion. They just absolutely just demolished everything. So the Dark Elf player, the player which is pursuing the High Elf army. God, look how cool that looks. Just the army set up like that. That looks awesome. That looks really, really, really cool. So, yeah, the Dark Elf player has gone ahead and brought a bunch of these Dark Elf warriors. Again, you know, just kind of being a nice supplemented front line. And this is the cool thing about this battle, that it's just not all about these, like, a ton of heavy elite units, you know. They've kind of created this story and then kind of created the units to kind of fit that story, which is really, really nice, you know, instead of just seeing 100 really heavy elite units. So, then behind that, he has the elite units, the Black Guard. These guys are absolute beasts in combat. They just, you know, a really nice pike formation. These guys will be able to come up against the Phoenix Guard up on the ridge. You know, there'll be a match for them for sure. And then behind that, he has these Dark Elf crossbows. Again, they're just going to slaughter armor units really effectively. And then he has the Executioners behind here, beastly 2-handed weapon unit, which is awesome. And I think that's everything. I think this is where the General is in it as well. We've got cavalry over there. Oh, that could actually be a way up here. Oh, no, but it looks a bit of a map. We'll cut it off. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and jump into this battle then. We'll go move over here and watch the Elf Archers fire. And we'll just go back to normal speed. Or watch as the Skeleton Warriors are kind of acting as a frontal force. The Archer fire is coming out, kind of focusing more on the main line now. But the Skeleton Warriors are going to be the first in, kind of trying to tire these units out. Tire the Spearmen out, try and... Oh, look how cool that front line looks. Oh, them shields are amazing. So the Skeleton Warriors aren't really going to be too much of a hassle for the High Elf Spears. but it's kind of, you know, just wearing them down. That's what the undead are really good at, just kind of wearing down the enemy, forcing them to kind of get tired out. And then when the blood dragons get here, they should obviously have a much easier kind of time of it, just to cut through these guys. So the battle line has been formed on this left side now. You can see the rest of the undead army is just pouring in now, which is going to be very, very deadly. We'll also obviously slow it down a little bit as well if we need to at any point. You know, obviously there's going to be action happening everywhere. But at the moment, the Elven line is where the action's kicking off. The Skeleton Warriors are actually cutting down a few of these High Elf Spearmen, which I was not expecting. I was expecting the High Elf Spearmen to really do like a number on these Skeleton Warriors. Especially now that the rest of the army is just pouring in on this left-hand side now. The Dragons, the Dragon Knights are like contemplating going up here, but they're just like, oh shit, we probably shouldn't. And the Dwarven line is going to be engaged. The Black Guard are going to go charging in, forming up their flanks. And the Dwarfs are going to have a hard time trying to push through these. We do have a Thunderers shooting over the ridge though. Actually going to go ahead and slow it down just a little bit. Maybe we'll go down to 0.6 speed. Just to go ahead so we can watch all the charges unfold, and then we won't stay on this speed for long, but we just want to go ahead and make sure we catch everything. So the Black Guard are obviously going to be doing really, really well. The Archer Fire is coming in from the High Elves, but actually hitting a lot of the Dwarfs on the head. Damn treacherous High Elves. Mortar fire going in the back, just racking up on these crossbowmen. That's a good number to fire. And by the looks of it, the Dark Elf player is actually pushing down across here, like actually trying to abuse the space which he's kind of managed to create, and is actually trying to push through with some of his Black Guard. The Ironbreakers are going to go and try their best to intercept. But, you know, a few of these guys got through. If the Dwarf didn't react to that and didn't get involved, that could have been very, very brutal to the effect of the battle. You know, the Dwarfs could have been broken there. Again, they've kind of managed to use their numbers to kind of push through here, getting some Dark Elf Warriors back here. Actually engaging the Thunderers. Again, the Thunderers aren't bad in combat, but, you know, it's going to be pretty brutal. But the General has come in. Oh, look at them hammers just swinging. The hammers should be enough to deal with these guys. But again, you know, that's kind of a gap which the General would much prefer not to go in, you know. This is disrupting the Thunderers, kind of stopping them from shooting. And you can see the Blood Knights are already starting to move in. Over on the other line, the Undead player has just fully engaged his army. Just not giving a fuck at all. He's just going in there, trying to disrupt this with all his troops. You can see the Von Carstein troops in there, the Krell personal guard in here as well, a couple units of that. The Archer Fire going overhead, which is just awesome. The Blood Knights, which is just going to be having an absolute field day. I know someone complained that I say field day too much, but I'm going to roll with it, you know. Just absolutely just massacring anything in their path. But again, the Dragon Prince is actually on horseback. Could hopefully go and turn this tide. They're going to be engaging the Drakenhof Guard, getting some really nice kills on the back there. And we just saw that the Dark Elf General actually just died there. That's going to be devastating for their morale. But again, you know, these are sturdy units. These are elite units. So I don't think it's going to matter too much to their actual morale. I think they're going to be doing fine. And by the looks of it, the Dragon Princes have kind of seized their opportunity. And they're pushing in the gap that the Dark Elves have made. The Dragon Princes are going to abuse this and just charge in, smashing through the Dwarfs. Again, the Dwarfs aren't really capable of dealing with this. So but there was a really smart move by the Undead General to kind of push through here and kind of abuse this. The Sea Guard are going to try and intercept this, but I don't think the Sea Guard are even a match for the Dragon Princes. The Ironbreakers are going to be good against armor, so if they can slow up the Dragon Princes, they're going to be doing okay against it. But obviously having these Dragon Princes just running amok, charging into the missiles, the Quarrelers are just not going to be able to deal with these Dragon Princes whatsoever. Or these Blood Dragons, sorry, Dragon Princes. I'm getting mucked up, apologies. Yeah, you can see the Blood Dragons are actually just slaughtering these Quarrelers. Just causing havoc, actually hitting the artillery as well. And if we look up here from the bolt thrower's point of view, you can see all the lines are engaged right now. This is actually a really, really cool thumbnail right now. We'll go ahead and take one there just to go ahead and have a look. Oh, and by the looks of it, the Dragon Princes are going to go ahead and engage with the Blood Dragons. And this is the General, I'm pretty sure, of the High Elf player. So if he gets stuck up here, this is not going to be too good for him. The Lancers have clashed. They're going to be whipping out their swords now. But yeah, this is not looking too great. The High Elf player needs to support his line with as much as he can. And one of the units of the Dragon Princes, this is the General as well by the looks of it. The Von Carstein General. He's going to be just smashing in the back of these High Elf archers, kind of minimizing this threat. There are going to be some spears to support it, but again, you know, things are looking very bad on the dwarven front. The dwarves just aren't capable of dealing with this heavy cav, you know? They're just kind of creating the gaps and pushing through. But high elf infantry is actually holding though, which I was completely surprised by. I thought these spear infantry would have broken by now, but they're doing a very nice job at kind of holding off. You can see where the blood dragons have just cut through the enemy, and a few of them are even getting around the back of the high elves as well. Some of the Sea Guard have actually had to come in and support this line though, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, you can see the spear infantry of the high elf player has kind of managed to warn off these blood dragons and kind of given them nowhere to go. He's going to probably get a half decent charge, and you can see the high elf general as well, just charging in with his men. Oh yeah, and the actually undead general as well. So this is going to be a pretty important battle, because at the moment the dwarven player, by the looks of it, is actually getting overrun. Even though the dark elf player lost his general early on, the longbeards just aren't a match for the black guard whatsoever. This is becoming kind of a bit scary for the dwarven player. His numbers are starting to dwindle massively. Obviously, his hammerers have done a really good job at killing these dark elf warriors with the support of his longbeard troops. But if we look at a line, like, his line is starting to dwindle a bit. The dark elf player is really starting to do damage. Got crossbows in the back. You can see where the mortars and the quarrelers have really done a number on these crossbowmen by actually racking up some kills. But again, these black guard are just a really solid unit indeed. A really solid unit. They are just picking apart their halberdiers, you know, using their distance to kind of force the ironbreakers and the longbeards to come to them, and then kind of taking advantage of that all along this battle line. Oh, swing move there with the swords as well. The executioners are in here. And it's not looking good for the dwarfs whatsoever over here. It really isn't. They're being overwhelmed right now. They just have to hope that the quarrelers and the thunderers, which are still shooting in, can rack up enough kills. Because if we look at it, the thunderers have a perfect kind of elevation to their shooting right now. They can really start racking up some kills over here. Like, they have a perfect kind of line of sight, especially as the ironbreakers start getting thinned out. You know, they can just focus on shooting at this area and not really have to worry too much about the friendly fire. Obviously, we got to remember as well, the Phoenix Guard are around here somewhere as well. I guess the Phoenix Guard are moving over here to kind of prevent the Blood Dragon charge. And you can see the Blood Dragons are actually getting cut down quite quickly. These numbers have been like almost cut in half now, which is kind of a really good job from the high elf player. You know, he's using his spears to kind of try and force these guys into like an unfavorable engagement. But he has to be careful as well. He does not want to get his white lion charged, because the Blood Dragons will definitely rack up so many kills on the charge. The Blood Dragons on foot are doing a very good job. They're actually starting to get surrounded now, but you can see where they've just pushed in. You know, the battle line started like here, and they've managed to push all the way up to here, just doing tremendous amounts of damage. The Grave Guard as well. There's not many skeletons left. They've kind of done their job though. They've kind of tired out the high elves. You can see the high elf bodies just on the floor as well. Archer fire coming in over from the high elf archers. But again, the high elf spearmen, they're holding their own. You know, they're not giving an inch. Well, they're giving the inch to the Blood Dragons, but apart from that, they're definitely doing a good job. So again, a really nice charge again by the Dragon Princes. The Dragon Princes are outmatched in a 1v1, but because the general of the undead has kind of committed to kind of try and harass behind enemy lines, he's doing a really good job at kind of holding them off and using his spearmen to kind of herd them away from his infantry line whilst they hold. Oh, it's going to be a point-blank charge of the executioners. I'm actually going to rout them. God, oh, that was epic, just seeing them charge in, and then the Thunderers just holding their ground, not giving any ground whatsoever, not retreating, not flinching, just holding the line, and, you know, favouring that their muskets will go ahead and rout the enemy. Or their thunder, I guess they're like blunderbusses or whatever. I'm not really sure what they're actually, like, the actual official name for them is. And they're actually going to go ahead and break into the mortar crew, which is actually going to be kind of convenient for him, because I think it's actually going to get a bunch of the siege workers off the mortars to kind of go ahead and capture these guys as they're routing. But it's going to mean that the mortars aren't firing, and that's really bad for the Dwarven player, because his infantry is starting to fall. He needs to start shelling this position with his men. The Ironbreakers are trying their best to kind of hold back, but gaps are appearing in the line, you can see. And the Dark Elf player is abusing this, running his Black Guard through the gaps. You know, the Ironbreakers again are still holding. You know, they're a heavy unit. They're not going to give up easily, but their numbers are dwindling. 24 in that unit, 37 in that Longbeard unit. You know, the numbers are definitely starting to go. The General has actually managed to push back the Dark Elf Warriors, and by the looks of it, he's having to engage the Black Guard as well, and that's going to be a hard fight for him. The Hammers are going to have to really step up their game and try and smash through. Luckily, these guys are exhausted from obviously running up the mountain and, you know, fighting all this time, whereas the Hammers are more only winded because they've only just been fighting some of the Dark Elf Warriors. But again, you know, they do outnumber them, which is nice, but the numbers are just starting to pour through these gaps now. The crossbowman can get a really nice shot in the side here. The archers again. I think it's, I guess maybe the archers as well, just racking up kills, just coming in and picking away. Probably not doing so much damage to these guys, but they're definitely going to be racking up some kills for sure. And the Dragon Prince, the General, is just trying to get out of there. He knows he doesn't have any spear support, but by the looks of it, the Undead has done a really good job at kind of losing these Sea Guard, giving them the slip, as it were. And again, the High Elf player has kind of committed 2 units of spears to try and hold back these Blood Dragons. And by the looks of it, he's doing a good job. Obviously, there's still 54 of them left. They've only lost probably 20 men. But, you know, by the looks of it, it seems like they're containing it. And the General has been caught. This could be devastating for the High Elf player. His General has been caught. He should stay in here and just kill him. But I guess he thinks the archers are more of a threat. You can probably get a really nice charge here. And yeah, these guys should just absolutely wreck. Yeah, that slice will kill so many. If they stay engaged for a long period of time, they're just going to slaughter these archers. But I feel like he should have just stayed and tried to have broken the High Elf player. Unless the General's already dead and I've just missed it, because I can't really see it. I know, but there he is. The General's right here. So yeah, I feel like he should have just stayed in and killed the General. Obviously, the spears were coming, so maybe he couldn't have stayed in. But these Blood Dragons are definitely doing more of an annoyance than, I guess, damage. Because, again, these archers just aren't really... You know, they're still, they only lost, what, 20 archers? But, again, I guess these Blood Dragons are stopping the missile fire. Really just, you know, causing an annoyance. But not really doing too much damage. You know, they're getting kills here and there, but not really slaughtering. So, again, the Dark Elf player has done a really good job at engaging these Dwarven Thunderers, kind of stopping the missiles from shooting, and that's really the key to their victory right now, is just slowing up these infantry. And if we go down the Dwarven line, it's literally just a man along these lines. These ranks are not deep whatsoever. Look at them. It's literally just a dwarf back shoulder to shoulder, and there's no one behind them. This is the line, and they're going to give their lives. They made an oath to help these High Elves, and they're going to give their lives to do it. But yeah, they definitely fought the harder of the opponent. The Black Guard have just been brutal, and they're starting to push through on all these flanks. The Blood Dragon's just coming in. Oh my god, there was just no need for that. That was so much overkill. Like, just killing them. There was only like a line of them. Oh, a lovely move from the Salvanian player just to go ahead and charge in the back of the Ironbreakers. Because obviously they're not going to break, so he needs to kill them. So doing that is a really good move. There's actually some white lions coming in to support as well, the dwarfs. But that was funny. That was just, you know, they're actually just running down the entire line, just slaughtering these Ironbreakers. The Dark Elf infantry would have been enough to deal with it, but obviously speeding this process up is an amazing feat. You can go ahead and then start supporting the line over here. But by the looks of it, the High Elf player has actually managed to go ahead and hold back the advance of the Sylvanian player. I guess mainly because, you know, the Sylvanian player spent a lot of money on them Blood Dragons, and Blood Dragons are really expensive. So because of that, they can kind of use that to kind of win elsewhere. But again, he's kind of broken through in the center. Like, the right side for the High Elf player is doing well, but the center has been slaughtered by the Krell Personal Guard. Look at the bodies just mounting over here. And now they're starting to get Graveguard in the back. The Archer Fire is definitely helping out. And the High Elf player is even having to commit his archers to the combat right now to go ahead and try and stop this unit from being outflanked. You know, the Blood Dragons, again, have lost a man since we last looked. They completely started turning it on and started pushing back. as soon as the kind of center broke and they weren't facing as many units, they could definitely start making a lot of ground. You can see that indent they've made. And I don't know right now, the Blood Elf Cavalry, the Blood Dragon Cavalry, sorry, I keep on messing that up. Apologies if it's confusing, have managed to get up on this side and is going to actually deal with these bolt throws. We haven't really seen too much from these bolt throws, but we know they've definitely been racking up kills, I'm sure of it. You know, they've got a perfect overview from the battlefield, just shooting down as much as possible. You can see the bolt being pulled back right there. But these are going to be silenced very, very soon. As soon as the Blood Dragons decide to go ahead, and I guess they're taking out this further one to kind of help support their forces. The mortars are also shooting as well, which is nice, but the mortars are still shooting. But I don't know for how much longer. I guess just that was the last shot they could kind of give out. Definitely still racking up a bunch of kills. The Quarrelers have had to go in now into the melee. You know, the only thing these Corridors have going for them is the fact that they are not exhausted. They're only just joined the battle, so they're going to be they have a lot of energy. So hopefully they can maybe even kill a few of these Blackguard. But again, these Blackguard are just so elite. It's going to be hard for them to do it. As they just poke away with their halberdier type weapons. Again, the Dwarven General as well. Is he going to give his life for some elves? I mean, he gave an oath, so he's going to have to if it's called for him. But yeah, there you go. The Dwarven General gave his life to go ahead and try and rescue these elves. The Quarriers are engaged, but again, these dwarfs will fight over that body. They will not give up the General's body, likely. You see the Blood Dragons now have just engaged these siege equipment, and they'll just obviously slaughter the artillery crew, not really giving them an inch. So by the looks of it, though, the High Elf player has kind of got this under control. Obviously, he still has to deal with the Blood Dragons, but now that he's winning on the right-hand side, he can kind of free up a lot of his infantry. By the looks of it, he's bringing these archers around the back to go ahead and volley against the Blood Dragons, which would be an amazing feat. If they've got any ammunition left, they could actually be out of ammunition right now. That wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, by the looks of it, he's just going to go ahead and use them as a rear flanking force. You know, and these charges are going to be doing good. They're going to be racking off a few of these Blood Dragons, you know. Every Blood Dragon an archer kill would just be amazing. Yeah, and he's just starting to overwhelm and surround these Blood Dragons. The Phoenix Guard are going in. This is a fresh unit of Phoenix Guard as well, which have just been sitting up on the hill protecting the artillery. So now the Phoenix Guard are involved. They should actually be able to deal, and the White Lions as well, which haven't really done much. They've been chasing the Blood Dragons, but apart from that, they kind of had an easy job of it. So yeah, now the Phoenix Guard are in. They've managed to envelop the on foot Blood Dragons. And I don't think it's going to go in the favour of the Sylvanian player. It's going to be up to the Elfin player, once he's dealt with the Blood Dragons, to kind of rally. Oh, I don't know though, because the Dark Elf player is actually bringing over a lot of forces now. He's freed up pretty much a big portion of his army. You can see, look how close it is as well. Allies have lost 74% and the enemy have lost 83%. You know, this is really, really close, considering the enemy started off with more men as well, so really, really close. Actually routing some of the Quarrelers, the cowards. The cowards, they've dishonoured everyone. You know, most of the Dark Elf line just push through here. Oh, it's brutal. The Dwarven bodies. So we're going to go ahead and rally up and actually get ready to go ahead and attack the main line. We'll go back to normal speed now and just let it play off for the rest of the battle, I guess. But yeah, these Blood Dragons are surrounded. But the longer they kind of commit and stay alive, the quicker the Dark Elf player will get over here. And it's kind of funny as well, considering the Dark Elf player and the High Elf player kind of called upon these allies, these uneasy allies, to come help them. The Dark Elf player and the High Elf player haven't really lost too many men compared to their allies, which didn't really even want to join this battle, but were kind of forced to kind of help out. You know, the Undead player has lost most of his army, and so has the Dwarven player has lost all his army. So you know, they kind of High Elves just kind of used them as a meat shield, as it were. The High Elf player also going to bring out his Phoenix Guard to kind of act as a buffer against the Blood Dragons now they're freed up. But yeah, he really just needs to cut through the rest of these Blood Dragons so he can form up the rest of his line and kind of try and hold back the Dark Elf, Jackie the Slayer. from pushing on the rest of his formation. But honestly, like, the balance of power says it's in the high elf favor, like, but I just don't really know. Like, they don't really have much cavalry left. They have some infantry, which is obviously good, but they don't have any ammunition left. And there's still a bunch of elite units for the undead. You know, they still have a bunch of, obviously, blood dragons kind of holding up in the center of this. You know, they're surrounded and they're just holding their own. They're not even getting cut down very quickly either. And obviously the undead also has two like half wounded units of cavalry. And there's also obviously the rest of the Dark Elf player who's formed up and is now marching. That's really cool. I love the way that he actually took the time to form up his lines. Instead of just rushing over, it kind of feels more like a battle that way. You know, the undead bringing his cavalry over as well. Oh, but look at that. Look at that just little pocket of resistance there. As they're trying their best to kind of just cut them down. There's still 26 of them left. The white lions have come in now to go ahead and hopefully deal with this. Oh, my guy just got like his legs sweeped and then, oh, sliced. Brutal. The high elf general in the background just trying to rally his men. Because they really do need to speed up. Like, the Dark Elf army is almost upon them. Do they have some missiles left as well? Yeah, their crossbowmen as well. Volleying into this big gap is going to be brutal. The High Elf player has kind of created like a box around his men. But again, the crossbowmen are just going to be coming, racking up kills in this Phoenix Guard. They really, really are. He's trying to like form up a box around his men as he slowly kills them to stop the cavalry from charging. Which is, again, a very smart move. But these crossbowmen will really be racking up kills. You can see every volley they're shooting. They're taking down a bunch of these Phoenix Guard. Which is just really painful. And, you know, yeah, they're having to form up this little box around. Oh, this is an epic replay. This really, really is a cool replay. Really is just a super epic clash. So we got the rest of the Black Guard who have kind of managed to rest a little bit, but they're still exhausted. They're engaging on the outer layer. Yeah, they're actually engaging on this outer layer. The cavalry, I think, is going to go in and try and deal with these crossbowmen. Yeah, because again, the crossbowmen have cut these Phoenix Guard in half. They're around about 80, almost 90 men. So the general is going to have to go out and try and deal with these crossbowmen. Because they're just causing so many casualties right now. The Blood Dragons, oh, the Blood Dragons have actually also engaged as well. Especially against the White Lions. The White Lions are going to have a really hard time dealing with this. A really hard time dealing with this. Because they're fighting against, obviously, a really heavily armoured cavalry unit. Oh, that looks pretty cool as well, these spearmen just over there. The Phoenix Guard need to be kind of brought around, because there's nothing for the Phoenix Guard to engage with. The Phoenix Guard need to like, kind of turn around and go and help out a bit. The Blood Dragons are dropping, there's only 9 of them left, but the cavalry support is here. Don't worry, Blood Dragons, your mounted brethren are here to help out and support. And it's actually going to go ahead and force the archers to rout. The Phoenix Guard obviously going to turn and probably rack up. Oh, they actually kill a few of these Blood Dragons. Damn, this battle is so close right now. 90% to 86%. But it's the infantry, yeah. By the looks of it, the numbers are just dropping. The balance of power is shifting in the Dark Elf favor. The Black Guard is just too strong right now. I just don't know how this is going to turn out. I mean, the Phoenix Guard are really elite and they're fresh. So, I just don't know. Like, I feel like the High Elves still have this battle. I just don't know. There's just not many of them left now. Oh, this is... Yeah, no, I take back that statement. I think the Dark Elves definitely have this as a victory. We've got crossbowmen shooting in the back now. Even though the Phoenix Guard are fresh, their numbers have been cut down. And the Blood Dragons as well, in the centre, are still fighting. There's still 3 of them left. They've been surrounded for so long. Phoenix Guard trying to get a charge off, but I think it's just the end. The Jackie the Slayer is going to... Even though he died, I guess we can say he got wounded in this battle. Yeah, the High Elf player is just, by the looks of it, just going to go ahead and rout. The cavalry's trying to come in just to rack up a few kills. The general is still alive as well, trying his best. Oh, there you go. He's been wounded there. Taken down by the Dark Elves. The ambush, you know, kind of finished off the the High Elves, and now they've kind of just been pushed back with Phoenix Guard of the last unit to stand, and they're going to get surrounded, charged in the back by Blood Dragons, and they're going to go ahead and run, throw down their weapons and escape. But it looks a bit, the united alliance of the Sylvanians and the Dark Elves was just too much for the Dwarves and the Elves. God, what an epic battle. That was so cool. So we're going to look at the troops deployed. You can see that the Dark Elves and the Sylvanians also outnumbered the initial fight. The Dwarfs didn't really being a host of too many men. You know, the Ironbreakers are obviously very expensive, and, you know, it was only a small host from the Dwarven Lord, the Dwarven Thane, I think it was, who went out and helped. But again, they killed, you know, they almost killed in equal numbers. The High Elf player really got a bunch of kills. That was very nice. So if we look at some of the High Elf kills, they did pretty good, taking a bunch of prisoners. The Sea Guard 120, the High Elf Archers killed massive amounts. These guys are probably mainly the skeletons, I would assume. The White Lions and the Phoenix Guard just really didn't do too much. By the time they were kind of committed, it was just too late. They just really couldn't do too much. But, you know, the High Elf Spears did pretty good, and the Cavalry as well. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. I'd really appreciate it if you would go ahead and drop a like on this video. I spent a bunch of time actually working on the intro and kind of getting footage for that, and obviously contacting people to go ahead and do the narration and stuff. So, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could go ahead and drop a like on this video. It'd be really awesome to just kind of get this an abnormal amount of likes than I normally get. I'd really appreciate that. Also, obviously make sure to go check out OfficiallyDevin for going ahead and helping me out in my intro and doing the narration. That was really awesome of him. Also, massive thank you to the person who sent in this replay and kind of created the lore for it, because this was an epic battle. Like, it wasn't like the biggest battle, you know, there wasn't hundreds and hundreds of troops or thousands and thousands of troops, but it was an awesome like scripted kind of last stand battle from the ambush that happened, you know, with the lore. It was just a really intense battle, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you did, obviously drop a like, as I said. I'd really appreciate it, and also comment, let me know if you want to see the second battle. I could get someone else or OfficiallyDevin again to kind of do the narration for the next Lord, to kind of a follow-on battle to this. So yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time, and fish out.